Hi, welcome back to another episode of Aviation Champions. I'm your host, Miranda Gahn, founder of Lexero Aviation Law Firm. This morning we have Gareth Williams. He's the founder, CEO of Suncoast Byplanes. He's also the chief pilot and flight instructor. Good morning, Gareth.
Good morning, Miranda.
So great to have you on the show. So tell us a little bit about Suncoast Biplanes.
Okay, Suncoast Biplanes operates out of Punta Gorda and also Venice here in Southwest Florida. We give scenic biplane tours in a Waco YMF5, um, basically up and down the Gulf beaches, up and down the Peace River, um, giving flights to locals and visitors.
Wow. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your background. You're obviously the chief pilot and founder of Suncoast Biplanes, also a flight instructor. Those things don't happen overnight. So tell us a little bit about how you came to found Suncoast Biplanes.
No, they don't. My background actually is most of my career was in business consulting, business analyst. Essentially, my career was linking uh, businesses with the IT side of things, helping business people understand what IT could deliver and helping IT understand what business needed. I worked in almost every industry sector in a number of different consulting firms. I also worked for a major pharmaceutical company, GlaxoSmithKline. That's how I came to be in the United States, transferred here in 2001. But now, after years basically in various offices, not my own, but offices where I was doing consulting, my office is in the sky. So when I came here, I got my private license. I ended up then going forward and getting my instrument commercial. Um, a little bit later on, around 2010, I got into tailwheel flying, board a steerman, and then I finally got my flight instructor certificate 4 years ago.
Wow, that's impressive. So what inspired you to pursue a career in aviation? If you were doing something, sounds like you were doing something a little bit different.
Well, I think the truth is I always wanted to be in aviation. I wanted to join the Royal Air Force in the United Kingdom when I was a teenager. Couldn't pass the flight medical because of eye issues. Decided if I couldn't be a pilot, I didn't want to join the RAF, and kind of left it behind. And I've often wondered, looking back, why I didn't pursue flying in some other form. And it wasn't really into my 40s that I got my I soloed at age 17 with the Air Cadets. I soloed a glider, but I didn't get my private pilot's license until I think it was 2003. And so when it got to the point that I wanted to move out of mainstream business, all I'd ever wanted to do was hang out around airplanes and hang around airports every day. And so I saw my opportunity and took it. And it's taken a few years to get to that point, but that's now where we are. So if you like, this is my kind of retirement gig, but I'm not exactly retired at this point. I'm busier than ever.
Wow, that's really inspirational. So tell us, what is unique about your business?
Well, I think what's unique about our business is that we are very customer focused and seeking to be very professional. Um, there's a lot of biplane and tour operators out there. A lot of them have been around for a long time, but we're putting in all the business principles that I've learned over the years, building a business from the ground up to be scalable and really paying attention to the safety factors that are imposed upon us by the FAA, but also customer service. And so we work very hard to ensure that every guest has an exemplary experience. We work very hard to get five-star reviews and to comply with all the regulations, do maintenance, safety first, all of those kind of things.
Well, that's impressive. Over the next 3 to 5 years, what trends do you see in businesses like yours?
I think actually one of the trends I see is a natural segue from that, and that is we're under increasingly rigorous scrutiny from the FAA, um, as is all aviation, and we're also, getting into issues of struggling to find maintenance support. Insurance is getting more and more expensive. And so it's more and more important to keep accurate records, to really pay attention, if you like, to every jot and tittle of the law. For example, if we are tempted to fly too low over a beach or over a populated area, the regulations are clear about what altitudes we need to be at. In the
Sure.
past, you could get away with that. Today, with ADSB and with
Right.
people with phones, uh, people will report you and say, "Oh, what was that biplane doing down at 200 feet over the harbor?" Hmm.
Sure.
So that's one of the trends we're watching. We just have to be very careful to comply with every regulation that is out there.
Well, yep, very good observation. So, I'm really inspired by your story. It seems like it's one of those where it's never too late to pursue your passion. Tell us tell us about one of the biggest challenges you faced as you pursued your career in aviation.
Um, I think one of the biggest challenges was that, you know, trying to achieve my goals while still working in mainstream industry, that there's not a lot of time available. I had a young family at the time when I was trying to get my private. Um, and I also faced immigration issues in that we moved to the United States in 2001, but in within 6 months, the position that I held was actually eliminated, and so we had to stay in the United States one way or another. And one of the ways did that was actually to become a student pilot uh,
Ah,
on an M1 student visa in order that I could remain in the country. And I'd already got my private pilot's certificate, but I got my instrument and commercial during that year, which is a bridge between jobs so that I could stay in the country.
wow. Well, that's really impressive and good for you. I mean, I think for me, personally, and a lot of the same stories I hear when you're pursuing a career in aviation is perseverance and
Absolutely.
doggedly pursuing it. So,
Hmm.
congratulations to you.
Thank you.
As a small business owner, what would be some career advice, either in aviation or as a small business owner, you might give to someone who's considering doing something similar?
I think the one thing that comes to mind is I was a business analyst and business consultant for companies from a handful of people to hundreds of thousands of people. And I learned a lot of principles and a lot of good practice. And I understand the basics of how a business is run and how it is built. But I think when it came to building our own, and I run this business with my wife, who's a great administrator and is able to keep everything in order, we just recognize now there was far more work involved to
Ah,
start a business from scratch than you
sure.
ever imagined. And you
Yes.
take into account the taxes, the legal aspects, um, just the insurance, all the different things that come into play. So my advice would be look very carefully into all the aspects and everything that's going to need to be done. And cash flow is a major issue, for all small businesses. How much is it all going to cost, and can you carry the cost until you're actually making sufficient income?
Sure. No, and again, I think it goes back to how you overcame and the career advice you might give for someone who's pursuing a career in aviation, and that is
Hmm.
perseverance. Of course,
Yes.
you can't know everything, but don't be deterred either. So
Yes.
continue to pursue it doggedly. Wow, Gareth, thank you so much for joining us. Your career is very impressive. I really applaud your effort, and tell our audience where they can find you if they're interested in getting in touch with you.
Well, you can find us. We have a website, Suncoast Byplanes, all one string.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Um, and you can also we have a phone number, 941-336-4966. We'll pick up the phone and we'll get you on the schedule.
Great, Gareth. Thank you again. We look forward to keeping in touch.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for interviewing.